Hello, and welcome to today's episode of The Memory Keeper. I'm your host, Bram Groen, and today we are headed to Japan.
Join Bram on an exciting journey, sharing travel stories that celebrate the power of memory. Through these stories, Bram raises awareness and support for both patients and caregivers, fighting Alzheimer's in honor of his wife, Sherry, who now resides in memory care. Without further ado, here's today's episode of The Memory Keeper.
Here's my second story about an incredible experience we had in Kyoto when my wife lost her pocketbook at the Golden Pavilion. I named this story Lost and Found in Kyoto. It takes Sherry and I to Kyoto, Japan to visit the incredibly beautiful Golden Pavilion. We took the high-speed train from Tokyo and arrived several hours later in what is a surprisingly authentic Japanese world. Yes, geishas walking the streets fine, lined with original Japanese architecture and filled with ever-polite Japanese people. None of them speaking a word of English, which is okay, but can be a problem when you don't speak a word of Japanese either. We made our way by taxi to the Golden Pavilion, or Kinkakui, an impressive structure overlooking a large pond and now a Zen temple whose top two floors are completely covered in gold leaf. The temple once was the retirement villa of the Shogun Ashikage Koshimitsu, and according to his will, it became a Zen temple of the Rinzai sect after his death in 1408. A rare visit to make, and we were in awe walking in and around the palace as if being back in the past. 3 hours later, we strolled out of the gardens to the street to make our way back to the train station. "You have my purse, right?" says my wife. "Your purse? I never carry your purse." "Well, I must have left it in the park then." We went back to the pavilion and searched, but no pocketbook to be found. Mind you, that included her passport, her credit cards, and who knows what else my wife had hidden in her bag. Now what? Can't even ask people for help as none of them speak a word of English. We were frustrated, and this is where travel experience comes in handy. Knowing that no one around us spoke a word of English, a travel agency might offer a way out of our predicament, as there they likely spoke our tongue. Train tickets. They had the name and phone number of the Tokyo agency that helped us get the train tickets. Why not call them to ask for advice, as I did? And the quick response was as simple as it comes. Go back to the streets of the pavilion's gate and look for the nearest small police station. They might be able to help you. We found it hidden between some old homes and walked inside. And for a moment, we were completely dumbfounded as there, on the policeman's table, were the contents of my wife's pocketbook. All of it. While the taxi woman who drove us earlier that day and the police officer were writing down all the items in it. An extensive list. My first thought was, try this in New York. We were, of course, delighted, and with hand gestures and my passport, we were able to convince both heroes that the handbag was my wife's. I pulled out my wallet and took out a $100 bill to hand to the taxi driver. What happened next showed we were in a very different culture indeed. No, said the police officer in broken English. You would commit an insult to Japanese people by giving reward. This is taxi woman's obligation to society, as these things were not hers, and without them, you would have suffered great problem. I hope you enjoyed that. It's truly an honor to share our stories with you. Our next episode will be about Sherry jumping off the Jimmy Hackett Bridge in New Zealand, the place where bungee jumping was invented. She's one heck of a woman, and many more thrilling things happened on that trip. My name is Bram Groen, and I am the Memory Keeper.
Thank you for listening to The Memory Keeper. On behalf of Bram, we want to thank you for your help in raising awareness and support in the fight against Alzheimer's. If you feel inspired to make a difference, please consider making a charitable donation to the Alzheimer's Foundation of America in honor of Bram's wife, Sherry, by visiting thememorykeeper.org and clicking the button that says Donate. On our website, you can also sign up for our email list and receive the newest episodes directly to your inbox, as well as a full listing of episodes, show credits, and learn more about this program and why it exists. Lastly, if you enjoyed the series, we just ask you to share this episode with your friends and family, as well as subscribe to the show and follow us on social media at The Memory Keeper Pod. Together, let's continue to raise awareness and make a difference in the fight against Alzheimer's. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you right here next week for another episode of The Memory Keeper.